I was sold a massive, expensive lie about what it takes to optimize my cellular health. Clinical biology proves my greatest physiological switches do not cost a single cent to activate today. Today, I strip away commercial hype. I reveal the exact biological pathways the gurus always ignore. I will expose the hidden safety traps to build the ultimate $0 habit stack today. Biohack number 1 is morning sunlight exposure. It starts the very second I wake up. Casually glancing out my bedroom window while drinking coffee is a massive biological mistake. Embedded at the back of my eyes is a specialized group of light-sensing cells. These are intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cells, known in clinical biology as iPRGC. When outdoor morning light hits them, they act as a high-speed biological power line. They send an electrical pulse directly to my central master clock, the SCN. This instantly triggers a sharp, healthy spike in my morning cortisol for peak daily focus. At that exact instant, it completely shuts down the production of my sleep hormone, melatonin. This sets a precise 16-hour biological countdown timer inside my brain for tonight. But here is the massive trap. Standard window glass engineered for homes blocks ultraviolet. Looking through a window filters out more than 95% of the master clock wavelengths. Sitting inside my house looking through a glass window is a complete circadian dead zone. Indoor lighting provides only 100 to 500 lux. This is biologically completely useless. To get the biological benefit, I must physically step outside into direct, natural morning sunlight. Direct outdoor sunlight delivers 50,000 to 100,000 lux of raw circadian power. It takes just 5 to 10 minutes of direct outside exposure to lock my clock. Even on a completely overcast winter morning, outdoor light still reaches up to 2,000 lux. On cloudy days, I simply step outside for 20 to 30 minutes without my sunglasses. If I wake up before dawn, I use a 10,000 lux light therapy lamp. My internal clock is set, but my nervous system is still running on pure autopilot. Biohack number 2 is breathwork. But the internet is obsessed with aggressive, rapid hyperventilation protocols. In the wrong environment, that aggressive breathing practice can be a sudden and fatal mistake. True nervous system mastery comes down to a biological phenomenon called respiratory sinus arrhythmia. When I consciously make my exhale longer than my inhale, my diaphragm physically moves upward. This reduces the volume of my chest cavity and physically squeezes my heart muscle tighter. Blood flows faster through the chambers, and specialized sensors detect this sudden change in pressure. My brain responds by sending a massive electrical pulse directly down my vagus nerve pathways. This dumps a powerful neurotransmitter called acetylcholine directly onto my rapidly beating human heart tissue. My heart rate decelerates. I dramatically boost my HRV and shift into recovery. But heavy hyperventilation traps me. Rapid breathing violently purges CO2 from my bloodstream. This triggers respiratory alkalosis. Because of the Bohr effect, my brain arteries severely constrict shut, suddenly cuts off vital oxygen delivery to my brain tissue without any warning signs. Doing this in a pool or while driving can trigger a deadly shallow water blackout. Rapid breathwork is entirely contraindicated if I suffer from severe asthma or active panic disorders. The safe protocol is box breathing. 4 seconds in, hold 4, out 4, hold 4. My nervous system is primed. Now, it's time to look beneath my bare feet. Biohack number 3 is grounding. But walking barefoot on my expensive wood deck does nothing. Asphalt, vinyl, and indoor carpets are perfect electrical insulators. They block the biological effect completely. Grounding is highly controversial in clinical circles, but the core physics of it are undeniable. The Earth's surface carries a continuous, subtle, negative electrical charge from the global atmospheric circuit. Insulated by rubber shoes, my body constantly builds up a massive positive static electrical charge. I am dealing with cellular damage from stress, creating positively charged free radical molecules. These reactive oxygen species, or ROS, drive systemic chronic inflammation inside my tissues. Direct skin contact with a conductive surface transfers free electrons from the Earth into me. These free electrons act as nature's ultimate antioxidant, neutralizing the positively charged reactive oxygen species. This effectively puts out the inflammatory fire at a deep, microscopic, cellular level inside me. I need conductive surfaces like wet grass, damp soil, sand, gravel, or plain unsealed concrete. I must stay off the asphalt and always check the soil for sharp glass hazards. Grounding reduces stress, but to trigger a metabolic furnace, I need a physiological shock state. Biohack number 4 is deliberate cold exposure, but my post-workout timing could ruin everything. If I take a cold plunge immediately after lifting weights, I actively destroy muscle hypertrophy. Muscle growth requires a natural, localized inflammatory response to signal the rebuilding of damaged fibers. Cold water immersion is such a powerful anti-inflammatory tool that it completely blunts this signal. To build muscle, I must wait at least 4 to 6 hours after resistance training. But timed correctly, sudden cold exposure triggers a massive sympathetic nervous system adrenaline shock state. My norepinephrine levels can surge by up to 500%, triggering intense arterial vasoconstriction. More importantly, it directly activates my brown adipose tissue, located around my collarbones and spine. Unlike white fat, brown fat contains a unique biological protein structure called UCP1. When the freezing cold hits, it rips circulating glucose and lipids straight out of my blood. It burns blood lipids, solely to generate heat through a process called non-shivering thermogenesis today. Clinical research shows the biological sweet spot is just 11 total minutes of cold weekly. I do not need an expensive ice bath. I simply turn my morning shower to cold. I stand in freezing water for the final 90 seconds, physically controlling my sudden gasp reflex. Now I must pull the final biological lever, the one that controls my systemic blood sugar. Biohack number 5 is the post-meal walk. High-intensity workouts after lunch are a terrible idea. Intense exercise redirects blood flow away from my stomach, causing severe cramping and acute nausea. But if I wait 2 hours to walk after eating, I miss the metabolic window. After I eat, my blood sugar and insulin levels naturally climb, peaking within 60 minutes. When I walk, I physically contract large skeletal muscles located deep inside my quadriceps and glutes. This physical contraction forces specialized glucose transporters, called GLUT4, to physically move. They pull glucose directly out of my bloodstream to be burned as completely independent cellular fuel. This completely bypasses insulin, flattening my blood sugar spike and preventing the brutal afternoon energy crash. The biological trap is timing. I must start my gentle walk within 30 minutes of eating. If I am stuck at a desk, I perform seated soleus push-ups with my calves. Repeatedly lifting my heels while seated activates this fatigue-resistant muscle to clear blood glucose efficiently. Tomorrow morning, I step barefoot onto wet grass for grounding, letting sunlight lock my circadian rhythm. I execute my box breathing, end my shower with 60 seconds cold, and walk after lunch. The human body is a biological miracle, but it physically requires the exact environmental inputs. Stop buying the commercial hype and take control today. Subscribe for more clinical cellular science. Stay raw by nature, rebuilt by design.